The saying goes that the best way to conceal your actions is to hide in plain sight, to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will. Fool those around you with charm and conviction to the point where they fail to see your true identity. Today, we'll explore the life of a man who employed such tactics to conceal his underground criminal enterprise. A man who preached at his local church and ran legitimate businesses while simultaneously building an underground criminal empire. But how does someone seemingly so pure sell their soul to the dark side of the law? And how did he fool those around him so easily? Well, in this video, we'll show you exactly how, as we explore the unexpected and extremely contradictory life of Michael Locke, the pastor turned criminal kingpin. To gain a full understanding of the life of Locke, we need to start our story right at the very beginning of Locke's life. Locke was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin's most populous city, located on the western shore of Lake Michigan. Growing up in a highly religious family, Locke quickly grew an affection for the church and even began preaching as a kid. This love for the divine world would continue as Locke became an adult, where he became a key figure in the local community, becoming a pastor and preaching the word of God. On the side, Locke also began running a number of small businesses. With his religious connections, Locke quickly began to build a persona of trust, reliability, and integrity, traits that he would later use to exploit the very community that he claimed to care so much for. Because let me get one thing straight with you, Locke was not honest, nor did he practice what he preached, because all of this was a facade, a cover-up for his true intentions, which were much more sinister. You see, Locke wanted more money and power than any legal enterprise would afford him, and he wasn't afraid to break the rules to achieve his vision. The first crimes were financial. Locke, for instance, set up a mortgage fraud scheme in which he would misrepresent the value of properties before submitting false mortgage paperwork to mortgage lenders. This would allow him to siphon money from those lenders after the loans failed, effectively allowing him to earn money for nothing. A later court document revealed that he exercised this tactic on over 24 properties, and he gained thousands in his own back pocket in the process. These early endeavours gave Locke a taste for the financial rewards that criminal activity could bring. However, they only served to increase his appetite for destruction rather than satiate. Locke became intent on building a network of crime that would give him power to control his followers, silence his rivals, and make more money than he ever dreamed imaginable. The organisation would be known as the Body Snatchers, and before long, Locke was committing crimes that made financial fraud look like a walk in the park. Drugs became a key commodity in this new empire. In 2002, for instance, Locke was arrested in possession of 9 ounces of cocaine. However, it was believed that his enterprise was moving quantities of up to 10 pounds per week at its peak. Becoming involved in the local drug market exposed Locke and his crew to violence in the form of turf wars and logistical disputes. Locke, however, seemed to indulge in this violence rather than shy away from it. For instance, in 1999 and 2000, 2 drug dealers were killed in a suspected homicide. 5 years later, their remains were found underneath concrete slabs in the backyard of a house that Locke once owned. Now, it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots and come to the conclusion that the man behind these killings was Locke himself. Just a couple of years later, in 2002, another rival dealer by the name of Leo Ford was kidnapped and tortured. The man behind it all? Locke. Once the drug operation was stable, Locke decided to experiment with a new revenue stream: prostitution. With Locke at the helm, throughout the 2000s, the Body Snatchers created an underground prostitution ring, exploiting women for profit from Milwaukee all the way to Nebraska. No woman in Locke's life was safe, and he even pimped his wife in pursuit of profit. Yeah, safe to say at this stage, all of his morals have gone out of the way in the pursuit of cash. According to court documents, Locke made over $100,000 from this enterprise, making it one of his most profitable endeavours yet. Now, in order to spend all of his dirty money, Locke also engaged in a complex money laundering regime, using shell companies to give the cash a legitimate source. So, to summarise, Locke's empire involved committing murder, drug trafficking, prostitution, torture, human trafficking, mortgage fraud, and money laundering. All the while, Locke was, to the outside world, still a preacher and small business owner. There was a certain beauty to the way Locke ran this criminal empire, because, to the outside eye, he would be the last person you would associate with these crimes. However, just when he was at his peak of his powers in 2005, everything would come crashing down for Locke. How? A rat. Now, before we get into just how crazy things get, if you haven't already, please pound that subscribe button. It's completely free, and it'll help prevent scammers from robbing you of your entire life savings. So please, do yourself a favour, subscribe, or be scammed. The beginning of the end occurred in 2005 after the bodies of the two drug dealers that I mentioned earlier were found. Because Locke used to own that home, he became a key suspect in the homicide case. However, the police simply had no other evidence to build their case, nor understand the severity of what they were about to uncover. Well, that was until Lewis Jackson stepped forward. You see, Jackson was, at one point, a key cog in the Locke operation. However, he was caught by authorities pretty early on and was serving a prison sentence in 2005. Long story short, Jackson was convinced to rat on the Locke operation after police told him that Locke had previously informed on Jackson, leading to his capture in the first place. Jackson told the police how the body snatchers worked and the crimes that they committed, in exchange for an early release. The police were literally put in shock with the supposed crimes committed by Locke, and he quickly became a key target. In their eyes, capturing him would be like cutting the head off the snake of the entire organisation. To get the evidence they needed, the police attempted to use Jackson as a Trojan horse, arming him with a hidden camera to record his crimes that would be used as evidence in court. It took 2 years, alongside further evidence from Leo Ford, the man whom Locke had previously tortured, but on the 20th of July 2007, it finally happened. Locke was busted, alongside 9 suspects. And when it came to sentencing Locke, the court did not hold back. To be honest, the number of crimes for which he was convicted is too long to list in this video. However, his longest sentences included 2 life without parole terms for the murders of the drug dealers, a 30-year sentence for kidnapping, robbery, drug dealing, and mortgage fraud, and another 10 to 20 years for running the prostitution ring. To our knowledge, Locke is still behind bars, and due to the severity of his sentencing, it's likely that he'll never be a free man again. Ultimately, Michael Locke's story is one of stark contradiction, and it just goes to show how much you can get away with if you're able to manipulate those around you. However, compared to the manipulation tactics used by Anna Sorokin, who literally conned the entirety of New York City, Locke's tactics look pretty insignificant. Click the link on the screen now, and I'll show you just how far this girl went for money and fame.